Convergence is the third full-length album from Fractal Generator. This is an Ontario, Canada-based death metal band, and maybe more of a brutal and somewhat technical approach to death metal. They are fairly straightforward for a certain time period. It does have that kind of early 2000s influenced technical death metal feeling. If you're a fan of Flesh God Apocalypse and the era where they kind of inserted more keyboards into their work, probably about 2007 or so, but also you understand the extremity of a band like Azarath in more recent times, or Merkskog back in the day. They kind of have that brutal side to it. There's a bit of Hate Eternal in there too. So if you know the era, you know what I'm talking about. There's a chaotic, brutal sense to what they're doing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty readable stuff. And it is death metal at the end of the day, pretty clearly. There are some black metal influences. Again, there's use of keyboards that become more pronounced on this record. All in all, they're essentially following up to Macrocosmos, their previous record. So we'll get a sense for pretty similar production values and whatnot here on this clip, and kind of go from there and describing what's a little bit different about this. So part of enjoying music is seeing where it could go, seeing where it does go, and kind of comparing your thoughts with where the artist goes with it. And I think that as a follow-up to Macrocosmos, this record almost has the progression of a band like Hate in mind, the way I would see it, where they go in a more dramatic presentation, but they stay pretty brutal with it. And I think that's the only thing that was particularly interesting about this record compared to the last. I think that the previous one was maybe more focused in its riffcraft. It was a little bit more expository. You kind of got a sense that it was telling its story. You kind of got a sense that it was telling its story more directly. But overall, it's kind of the same album in most sense. A similar songwriting and general structures to the pieces. A lot of the same techniques are used throughout. The big thing is that they are using different types of synths and keyboards and things to build extra accoutrement to flesh out these songs into more exciting events. And I think that they get a little bit lost in the details on some of these songs, but overall it's not such a taxing or callousing event. I think there's enough intrigue there given to the extra atmosphere conjured. It's just that sometimes it reads more like sci-fi horror than it does just straight up sci-fi. So there's kind of a horror element to this record, which maybe I would have emphasized, because I do think that is a little bit more unique than what they presented in the past. But I still like this style. I still like what they're doing with it, and I think they're great musicians in the sense that they put together solid death metal songs that are worth repeating, and the presentation is pretty clean, pretty flawless stuff there otherwise. So check that out for yourself. It releases today, June 7th, and go ahead and read my review if you'd like more of my thoughts.